Let's go.
Hey.
Long time no see.
Long time no see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and blast this out.
Same. I'm gonna put on two.
Serve my purpose this morning. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling good. I feel so blessed to be able to open my eyes on this beautiful Friday morning. I'm so excited for this day filled with so much abundance and success. Thank you, thank you, thank you for love. Thank you for courage. Thank you for guiding me. I know you've been challenging me lately, but I know that these challenges are helping me become a better version of myself. I am happy. I accept the challenges that you're putting me through. Like sitting there and intentionally talking to God about your current situation.
Yeah.
Intentionally doing it. You got to sit down and intentionally pray as to what your situation is. And then practice that gratitude. God, thank you so much for my health. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for always being there for me. Thank you for the money in my bank account, even though it may not be a lot right now, but thank you so much for it. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my girlfriend. Thank you for my husband. Thank you for this. Thank you for my kids. Really sitting there and being thankful, extremely thankful. Like there's nothing else that matters at that point but the gratitude that you are expressing. That is intentional gratitude, where you are intentionally focused on only what you are grateful. You're not ungrateful that you don't have the money that you want,
We're just
that
listen
you're not
to
in
this
the
for a little bit,
situation that you're in,
and
or
then
that
we
you're
will
not living in the
get started
apartment
here in a
that
few
you guys
minutes.
want to live
Feel
in,
free
or
to
whatever
invite
it is.
anybody you want. It's going to be an awesome call.
Involved and grateful. Even know. Because something as simple as waking up and practicing intentional gratitude and prayer, you haven't done that over a period of time. You haven't woke up at the same time every day for 3 months. Every day you haven't done that. So you haven't even reached flow state. You don't even know what it is like. You don't even know how it feels. You don't even know the awareness of it. You're not even aware of it. You don't even have that conscious level of awareness to reach it yet. I'm serious. Some of you guys don't even have the conscious awareness of what a flow state actually really is. So you wake up, practice gratitude, prayer. You read your goal card with intention, right? So for example, okay, I have my goal card right here, all right? Boom. So being intentional about reading my goal card is, as I'm brushing my teeth, reading it to myself. So being intentional is, and if you're right hand dominant, brush your teeth with the left hand. If you're left hand dominant, brush your teeth with the right hand. That is intentional. Why? Because you're doing something different, uncomfortable. And even think about it, you're even being intentional about brushing your teeth. About brushing your teeth, you're being intentional. So you wake up, and instead of brushing your teeth with your dominant hand, you're actually switching hands. You're brushing your teeth with the left hand. You're getting uncomfortable, which means you're activating a different side of your brain, something that your brain is not used to. And with the other hand, you're reading your goal card. So it looks like this. You're brushing your teeth. Yes, boom. But you're rereading that goal card over and over and over and over again. And now, guess what's the beautiful thing about it? When you're done brushing your teeth and you read that goal card, what you want to do is you want to sit in the feeling of the wish fulfilled for at least a minute and a half. That's intentional. Like where you literally stop and you're like, okay, I'm done brushing my teeth. I'm done reading my goal card. Now for this next minute and a half, let me sit here and sit in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. How am I going to feel when I accomplish this goal? Let me close my eyes and get in that feeling. And literally sit there and get in the feeling like, yo, I'm going to feel so good. Oh my God, it's going to feel so good when I'm making $100,000 a month, $25,000 a week. I see the checks coming in already. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I see the celebration. I see the house that I'm living. This is amazing. I pay off all my parents' bills. They're living in a beautiful house in the Dominican Republic. Wow, what an amazing feeling this is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, 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 more of this. I am so thankful for this goal. How many of you guys are actually doing that? How many of you guys are actually doing that? Like taking an intentional time to actually practice the living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Like living in that feeling like, yo, I'm there. I did it. I am making that certain amount of money. I am living in that penthouse. I am driving that car. That's what intentional action over a period of time does.
All right.
And it's with the small things that
Let's
gotta
get
do.
started. Let's get started.
it's with the
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Amazing. So first of all, thank you so much for spending your day with us. Time is the most precious resource that we do have, and so the fact that you guys wanted to share it with us means a lot. It says a lot about you. It says a lot about where you're going and what you want to accomplish. Separation Saturdays is for those who really want to separate to elevate. And so I'm excited to be able to have this conversation with you, Femi and Lance, and really just knock it out the park. So first, go ahead and put in the chats one thing that you're grateful for this week, and also where you're from. Where are you guys tuning in from? I'm currently out in Dallas, Texas, holding it down here in Dallas. I know Femi's out in Florida. Grateful for mind, body, spirit, and the chance to grow. Facts. Lance Cool, West Palm Beach, out and grateful for the skill sets. It's amazing. It's amazing. Dallas, Texas. I'm super grateful for, honestly, morning routine. Hands down, it's been that game changer the last couple of weeks. Like, just having the repetition, being so dialed in with it that it's already like a habitual thing, and it's just really catching up in a good way. That compound interest from a good morning routine. But we will get started. We got a really cool training for you guys this week. It's going to be a little bit more training style instead of a little bit less conversational, but more training. So you guys can really take this and really just take it and run with it. Take this information, 5 basic skills, the basics that everything else stands from, everything else rises and falls on the basics. If we get back to the basics, then we can do all of the other things. And Femi's got an incredible PowerPoint ready to freaking go for you guys. And so, Femi, what is up? How are you?
I'm amazing. We get miracles and we expect miracles. You know the vibes. But I'm super excited for this training. And like I was kind of telling you a little bit, I want people to be sick of hearing about this. I want them to be like, why are they always talking about the basics? Basics of what? 5 basics this, 5 basics that. And it's like, yeah, I wanted to get to that point because it's so crucial. Like you said, it is literally where everything begins and ends with too. And even as you elevate through your life and through your success and through anything that you do, you always have to go back to the basics because there's always something that we can knit tighter. There's always a skill or, a characteristics that we can always, get better at or do. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be an amazing training and it's needed. It's needed and it's something that people can always come back to and be like, yo, okay, yeah, the basics. That's what I need. That's what I need. Mhm.
Let's freaking get it. I'm so excited. The 5 basics really did change the way that I viewed how I worked, how I operated, all things, because it makes it simple. And so I'm just gonna go for it. Share the screen, share the PowerPoint, and take it away.
Mhm. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's see. Desktop. You guys can see everything?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. Let me move this. My screen.
This beginning now.
I think you just, yeah.
Go.
Okay. Yeah. And it's funny because like I made this a while ago and it still comes in clutch. Like, kid you not, like it's something that you can always like lean back on. And even Mateo, the book that he wrote, it's literally the 5 basics that, he got to learn from, Bob Proctor. And it's such a good training. I'm excited. Okay, let's get right into it. So the 5 basics, you guys. All right. So I usually start with these because throughout the time frame of, learning and grasping the 5 basics, you will need to constantly keep up with what you're doing and evaluate yourself, right? And I know it says on here, to look at like each month and, do evaluation. Honestly, weekly, monthly, and quarterly is what I recommend, because you're gonna need to keep up with how you're evolving, what you need to do better, because if you don't track, you don't grow. You can't see what you need. You can't, you won't know like the difference, right? So These 3 questions are the same 3 questions that, my mentor told me. It's like, you want to elevate, you need to evaluate yourself. And when you do, these are the 3 questions that you always ask. What did you do well? What didn't you do well? What improvements am I going to make? What improvements are you going to make? Right? Because these are so important in everything that you're doing. I personally do them weekly, every Sunday. Sunday is my reflection and evaluation day. Right after church, go through the week and I ask myself these 3 questions. And then if you really want to elevate for real, the bonus question that my mentor gave me, he always says, what tools, resources, and people do I need to get better this week? Right? And that is an additional one. And I love that one because, when you are doing your evaluation, like, okay, like I want to do this better. Okay, I need to do this better. But what's your game plan? What is the structure? Like, how? Sometimes it is a person, sometimes it's just a conversation. Maybe you need to talk to someone that has a little bit more than you, that, that has a little bit more experience, and that has done whatever it is that you're looking to do. Or maybe you need to read a certain book, you know, maybe you need to hear something different, something that you don't normally listen to that will give you that one thing that you need. But these questions are truly important. And I'll also put in the chat the last one that I just said before we continue. What resources, tools people need to improve? I kept it general, but for each one that you do, if you are doing it weekly, obviously you would put that last question, like for this week. If it's for the month, you say for this month, for the next 6 months, wherever you are when you are doing this, right? And but as you see, I didn't even get to read the top to you guys, but it says, you want to look at each month, all time frames really, and reflect on the activities, habits, and even expectations that you have for yourself, your business, and your goals, and identify all areas of your life, right? You can even do this if you are a parent. You can do this as a parent. You can do this, if you are a athlete, you can do this. Like this stands for everything. That's why I wanted to put this before we get into the basics, because as you go through the basics, you're going to be going through different seasons. You're going to be, having different challenges, having different outlooks, and you'll need it. You'll need it to keep track. Okay. So the next, so we can get right into it. You can go to the next one, but so create a plan, right? A plan of like the basics. And I know this says 2023 because this was the in the beginning of it.
Have a great one.
Okay, boom. Let's see. You guys, mute yourself, please, when you come in. Okay, but so is the PowerPoint glitching? Okay, there you go. All right, cool. So create a plan and goals, right, around what you want to do. Create a plan around your evaluation. And so after you evaluate yourself, whether it's for the week, the month, the quarter, whatever it is, you have to intention, like I said, have that structure of, okay, how are you going to do that? I know this says 2023, but let's think long term. Put 2024, 2025, whatever it is, what is it that you want to do? And don't aim small. I know that fear, our circumstances, and certain things that we go through in life tend to scare us, pull us back. And, we just want to, sometimes we get beat up so much in life. We're like, let me just take one step. No, run, right? Because the higher you aim, if you fall short just a little bit, you still did more than what you thought you were going to do. You know what I mean? If you want to make 10,000, if you want to make 10,000 a month, go for it. Why not? Right? Okay, you putting in all the effort, the resources, and then maybe you get to only 5,000 a month. Okay, cool. Now you can evaluate, what did I fall short that I lacked that last 5,000, which didn't get me, but you did way more than what you expected, than just aiming for the average of what you thought you could do, right? And write things down, you guys, pen and paper. Jim Rohn always says, do not use your mind as a filing cabinet, right? Because if you don't see it, you can't change it. Out of sight, out of mind. I literally have, I think on one of my stickies, it says insight in mind, because I want to keep everything in my vision. Because if you keep everything in vision, you'll constantly be thinking about it, because the more you think about it, the more you'll become, the more that, you know, whatever you believe in, the universe or God will start aligning people, situations, and circumstances. Can you guys mute your mic, please? Thanks. The more that you'll see those things start coming, you know, into play. So create a plan around the intentions and the intentions that you have with your evaluation. So if you evaluate, you're like, all right, I need to get better at waking up early, I need to eat better, and I need to work out more. Okay, create a plan around that. What are you going to do in the morning that's going to initiate you, and what habits that you need that's going to initiate you to do those things? You know, maybe you need to start meal prepping. Maybe the night before you need to start putting everything out that you need for the next day. So you know, okay, breakfast I'm eating this, lunch I'm eating this. And if you don't meal prep, cool. Maybe you need to already put the places that you're going to go eat at tomorrow. Okay. You know that you work and you have a break between 12 and 1. Okay. Look for the nearest location that aligns with where you want to eat healthy. Find a healthy place that is close by, and then execute that plan. But all right, bet I'm gonna have lunch at this place. It's healthy. I'm gonna be able to get back. Whatever the case may be, like, be specific with your, you know, with your structure and the plans that you have around your evaluation, and keep it like that. Because sometimes we have the tendency, we want to do so much, we kind of sometimes just grab random things like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this too, and yeah, I'm gonna do this too. Like, no, focus on the habits and the activities and the things that are gonna get you to that exact goal, right? You can go ahead to the next one, babes. All right, so these are the 5 basics. I put it all on one slide instead of putting each in one, because what I'm teaching you today is literally the first layer of the basics. Like, each basic is literally a training within itself. We can literally have a PowerPoint for each point right here, right? So let's get right into it. Like, who do you listen to? This is really important. This is the first thing that, you know, my mentors taught me when I was getting in that space, because one, I don't know about you guys, but me, I did not grow up around millionaires. I did not grow up around very wealthy people. So therefore, I didn't really know how to think like one, how to function, like because they think differently. Okay. When you get to that space, you think differently, you move differently. But the one thing that they all have in the front of their mind when they're having conversation is, who do you listen to? Now, the aspect of who do you listen to is important, because there's a lot of things out here. Okay. There's a lot of influencers, there's a lot of information, and, you know, not to say that all of them are bad or all of them are fake or whatever the case is, but you have to listen to people that have what you want. Listen to the people that have what you want, that has something that you want. Maybe it's the mentality, maybe it's, you know, the lifestyle, maybe it's the income, maybe it's their overall success, maybe it's just their characteristics as a person. Whatever it is that you want, you need to find someone or a community that have those things and have the actual results of it, that have proof, that can tell you, yes, this is how I did it. There's a lot of companies and a lot of things out here. If you ask them how they made their first 6 figures, they can't tell you. They cannot tell you, right? And this part of, I like to say, because I don't really believe in luck. Luck is just when opportunity meets preparation. Honestly, for me, that's my personal outlook. But there is a time frame where people do have a lucky jump in their income. They do, you know, happen to have a, just be at the right place at the right time with the right people. But guess what? That lucky jump you have, that one thing that happens, you can lose it like that because you're not actually prepared, you're not actually developed, and you don't know who to really listen to. And listening to people is not just like, oh, someone like a mentor or a person, it's also to the audios, like the books. And even then you have to be careful and shift through that, because there's some people, they literally just get wealthy off of selling courses and books and things to help you get to what you want, but they don't have what they want. They only have a small income because they just shared what they thought it was, but they don't have the results. So you have to really be careful who you listen to, right? The person that you're listening to, do they positively impact you financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Do they want the best for you? Do they have you in mind when it comes to whatever you guys are talking about? Because that is important. A mentor is not worried about you glorifying them. They're worried about you learning their systems and how they did it and duplicating them so you can be successful, right? So who do you listen to is really important. Listen to the people that have what you want, the results that you want, and the proof behind it. You can see it in their characteristics. They're the same person they are in person than when they are on an IG live. They're not different. They're the exact same person. They can show you their life. They have the proof, right? And the next basic is, what is your teachability index? The teachability index is so important. It consists of two concepts: what your willingness to learn, what are you willing to learn, and your willingness to change, right? And you need both of these aspects to have 100% teachability index. Now, I actually do have the set of questions. If you're not in our channel on IG, go ahead and at the end we'll put it in here so you can do it, and I'll drop the questions because there's actually like a quiz to see how teachable are you, right? Because it's really important to know, because you can have the willingness, like everybody on here right now, you have a very high willingness to learn. Congratulations, because you're here on a Saturday and you hop on a call and you're just listening to some information. You could have been anywhere else, right? But you're here because you want to learn, you want to understand something. So, okay, I got you. Here, this is my IG if you guys don't follow me. Then on my IG, you'll find the separation Saturdays, and I'm gonna drop it in there after the call. So yeah, your willingness to learn. You're willing to learn. You're willing to, do what it is that you need to do. Maybe it's, sit down and listen, sit down and read, sit down and hear something. Maybe you go to events like me and Grace. Whatever the case is, you have a willingness to learn. But the other component of teachability index is your willingness to change. Now, someone could have for example, an 8 in their willingness to learn. Out of everything, they have like an 8. They're willing to learn and do certain things, but your willingness to change may be like a 0. Therefore, you have no teachability index because you're not willing to change what you know, what you think, and how you live your life in order to reach whatever it is that you need. So therefore, you're not teachable, you're not coachable. No one can teach you anything because you're not willing to change. And these are really important. And how do you know that you have teachability index outside of the quiz? Just look at your life. Okay, if you love going out every weekend, are you willing to sacrifice the next 6 months every weekend of replacing the things you love with the things you have to do, right? I don't even like to say that, the things you get to do, right? Because you get to grow, you get to be a better person, you get to learn. You don't have to. But are you willing to replace those 6 months of every weekend going out? Maybe you don't go out. Maybe your favorite thing is watching TV. Are you willing to give up TV? Are you willing to give up music? Are you willing to give up hanging out with those friends that you may love, but you know they're not helping you? You're not going anywhere with them. Are you willing to separate yourself for the next 6 months? Focus on a skill, focus on your goals, focus on the people, the things, the community that will get you to where you're going, right? Because you need both components, right? And then when you're willing to change, are you willing to learn everything that comes with it? Okay, you're learning something new, and they're like, all right, you have to read this. You have to write down your goals. Okay, you have to watch this every day. Like, are you willing to do those things? Because if you're one or the other, you have no teachability index. And I love these basics because you can literally take this in everything. Like me personally, if I, had a company or a job and I was hiring people, I would just use these 5 basics, no cap. Because if you're not willing to follow the directions, you're not willing to do any of that, then what's the point, right? And it's funny because as in the society, everybody has a high teachability index when it's time to get a job. Because you have to go through training. You have to pass your evaluation. You have to show them that you are the right employee for them to hire you. Okay, so why don't you have a high teachability index for your life, for your goals, for the things that really matter, right? It's so important. So the next basic is the training balance scale. This is really the spiritual side of success. And we don't even have that much time. I'm just gonna briefly brush over it, but the teaching balance scale is literally 2 sides, like the how and the what, right? When it comes to doing something, and you have to understand this concept because again, you'll be going through different parts of your life in seasons where things are not going to make sense. Sometimes you're going to go backwards, right? Sometimes you're going to go backwards. Some days you're like, wow, like I've gone really far, and then life is going to be lifing, right? But the training balance scale really gives you the concept to understand the aspect of, okay, I'm going to do this one thing. I don't know how. It doesn't matter how, but I'm already believing that it's going to happen for me. And this is literally how wealthy people think. Like, I kid you not. Like, my mentors, this is how they move. And most of the time, they're not having these conversations with the average person because people are stuck on the, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? When you understand the spiritual side of success, you understand manifestation, you understand the mind, that is that side of the training balance scale where it's, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to be in the feeling of doing that thing every single day. I don't know how, I don't know who, I don't know what, but this is my goal and I'm sticking to it, right? That's the what part of the training balance scale. You know what you want and you're going after it no matter what. And then you're going to positively be thinking about it. You're going to be obsessed with it, right? I don't know. Well, I'm sharing my screen right now, but behind me is my note cards, right? My note cards and everything that I want to do. I see it every day. I'm really big on this side of the basics because my life is literally ran by it. There's a lot of things, you guys, I don't know how they happen, but I know they're going to happen. And then boom, the people that is going to connect me to that one thing that I needed for that goal comes. I run into someone in the store all of a sudden that is now all of a sudden a business partner. Like, these things always happen when you truly believe and you're in the feeling, right? There's a whole training on this and I can't get into it, but just know the how and the what. And most of the time, it's the what that you're focused on. And then the how happens when it happens. The how happens when you choose to go after it. The how happens when you choose to believe, okay, this is what I want. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter if my family doesn't believe in me. If the people that I thought was going to be there, they don't support me. It don't matter. You have it, it's there, and you're constantly feeling, and you're showing gratitude. You're like, wow, I'm so grateful now that I am making $10,000 a month. I'm so grateful that I do have, ambitious business partners. I'm so grateful for the car that I drive. Like, and you're in the feeling. You literally talk about it like it already happened, right? It's so important, you guys, because this is really a really big part of making things happen. Okay. And then the fourth basic of the 5 basic is the 4 levels of learning. So as you see on the right-hand side of the screen, the 4 levels of learning. We briefly talked about this on the last call, but it is very important to constantly surround yourself with this information and hear it, because none of us on this call have mastered any of these. There are areas in our lives where we still need to get these right to a T, right? So the 4 levels of learning, everyone goes through the 4 levels of learning, right? So unconsciously incompetent, consciously incompetent, consciously competence, and unconsciously competence. So the first one is unconsciously incompetent, right? Basically, you don't know, so you don't do. You can't do. If you don't know something, you can't do anything about it, right? And now, for example, tying our shoes. We all used to be unconsciously incompetent with tying our shoes. We all did not know how, right? We didn't know until we were taught, we were shown. That's when we did know. Right? That level of learning is where usually everybody's at with certain information, right? For example, I am completely unconsciously incompetent with engineering. I don't know anything about engineering besides it's, has to do with science, tech, computers. I don't know, but I'm unconsciously incompetent about it. If someone asks me about it, I can't give them the information, right? So that's the first level of learning. And some of us, re-listening to this recording, or some of us on this call now, we don't know what that is. We've probably never heard of these 5 basics. You're unconsciously incompetent about it. You don't know, so you can't do anything with it. You can't do, right? So the next level of learning is consciously incompetent, right? And unfortunately, this is where a majority of our world is consciously incompetent. So right? You're aware. You now know about this one thing, but you don't do it. You know you're supposed to eat healthy, but you don't do it. You know you're supposed to wake up early and get stuff done, but you don't do it. You know you're supposed to work out, but you don't do it. You know you need to stop hanging around these people, but you don't do it. You know that you need to stop scrolling and be more productive and clean your feed, but you don't do it. So unconsciously incompetence, but you don't do it, right? And most people, when they are aware of certain things, they don't do it. And this ties into your teachability index. Why don't you do it if you know that you're supposed to? Because you're not willing to change. You're not willing to learn. You don't want to. It's going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to have to unlearn to relearn. And you're going to have to, be a better you. And unfortunately, some people don't want to do the work. They like the microwave success. They like the instant gratification. But when you're consciously incompetent, you know about things, you see them, they're there, but you don't take any actions, you don't do it, right? And we were still at this stage when we were learning how to tie our shoes. I remember when I was a kid and I was learning how to tie shoes, it was hard for me. So I learned it, the bunny holes, the loop, and then you pull whatever. But mine were always loose, and I always had like really fat bunny ears and they always got loose, and I always tripped over it. So then I knew how to do it, but I did not want to stop playing and stop doing what I'm doing to tie my shoes because I was annoyed with it because it's something that was still hard for me. So I would just tuck in my laces, like in my shoe. I definitely learned the hard way because I kept tripping and busting my behind. But I was consciously incompetent with tying my shoe. My mom taught me, my teachers taught me, but I didn't do it because I didn't want to do it, right? So unconsciously incompetent. Now, consciously competent is where everyone on this call should want to be. This is where we need to get to. You know, and you do. You're conscious about it, you're aware about it, and then you do it. You put it into action. You know you're supposed to write your goals. You write them every day. You know you're supposed to do your morning routine, and you do it. You know the skills and the things that you need to work on every day. You know your daily methods of operations, and you do it. You do it. You do it. And you do. This is where we need to get with and everything. Okay. You know that you have a test. You study for it. You know that you have to work out, and you work out. You know you have a meeting tomorrow and you need to prepare. So you prepare the night before, you get everything done, and then you do it, right? It's literally knowing and executing, knowing and executing. And when you get to this place, right, your teachability index tends to go higher because you start seeing results. You start seeing the difference. You start seeing the productivity, and you're like, okay, and then you want to learn more. You want to do more because you're transforming. You're actually doing what you said you were going to do. Your emotional integrity is higher. Your self is trusting yourself because you're, finishing and doing the thing that you're supposed to do, right? And then consciously no, consciously competence leads to unconsciously competence. This is my goal. This is our goal. Me and Grace, this is what we're doing to get to where we want to be. We want it to be automatic. You want to wake up and you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to think about doing your morning routine. You do it. You don't have to think about working on your business. You do it. You don't have to think about cleaning. You automatically do it. It's incorporated in yourself and in what you do and how you do it. I'm consciously competent with my morning routine. I don't start my day without it. It doesn't matter if I wake up on time, if I don't wake up on time. My morning routine is automatic. Like I wake up, I brush my teeth with my opposite hand. I'm ambidextrous, so it's not that hard. And I have my go-kart in my other hand. That's how I start my morning. After I fix my bed, I go and that's what I do. And then that starts my morning routine. I do it every single day without a miss. And I've literally been doing it now for 304 days consistently. Yes, I keep track because that's something that I want to do for myself, because every wealthy person, all my mentors, they all have a morning routine. They all have a time in the day where they pour into themselves so they can accomplish their day, their goals, and be in high vibrations. So that's what I do. And now I'm unconsciously competent about it because I took it seriously and I went through the 4 levels of learning of it. I used to have to set reminders to do my morning routine, you guys. It was new. I didn't grow up and they're like, hey, you need a time where you need to pour into your mind. Okay, nobody taught me that. So I had to go through the levels of learning to understand it, do it, fail at it, do it again, redefine it, and keep doing it until I was doing it consistently. Unconsciously competence. You want to be unconsciously competent in every part of your life, with your finances, with your goals, with what you want to do. Anytime you have a project, you want to be unconsciously competent about, okay, I'm gonna get this done. No complaints, no procrastination. Like, this is a level of learning that everybody needs to get to, and I hope that you guys strive to get to this, because it becomes a way of life, right? It becomes a way of life, and you don't have to think about it. And the 5th basic of mastering the basics is mastering the basics. That is the 5th basic. Master it. You have to master these basics in order to get anything you want in life done. Like I said, this goes for everything. This just doesn't go for my business and what I do. This is for everything. Everything. If you have a job, if you have a family, if you have inspiring goals and dreams to do whatever, you have to know these, because in order to get to where you're going, you have to do things that you've never done. How do you do the things you've never done? Easy. Check who you listen to. Check your teachability index. Understand the training balance scale and understand that you won't always know how, but if you believe what it is that you want, it will happen for you. And then understand the 4 levels of learning that you have to go through in everything that you're doing, in a new skill, and everything. It doesn't matter what it is, relationships, business, platonic, friendships, whatever it is that you're doing, you guys, these basics, you can utilize them to keep going to the next level. And then you use these two throughout your, evaluations. When you're evaluating yourself, when there's something going on, when you're having conversation with someone's like, hey, I want to give you some advice. You should be unconsciously competent. And who do I listen to? That's the first thing that should pop in your mind. Like, okay, because you want to take inventory on who you let plant seeds in your garden, right? Your garden is your mind. Who do you allow to, that you accept everything we say? Because if you buy people's opinions, you buy their lifestyle. So you need to watch who you listening to. I'm not saying ignore everybody. I'm not saying block people out when you have a conversation. Don't be rude. Be intentional, because you can learn from everybody. You can learn from every single person that you encounter. It doesn't matter. But do they have the results that you want? Do they have something that you want? And can they show you how to do it? Do they have your best interest? If all of those things are no, you nod politely. I hear that. Okay, thank you. And then you reject it. Okay, that is your higher faculty. Your higher faculty, your reason. Your reason gives you the ability to accept and reject. reject the things that you don't need, accept the information that you can apply and put in your life, right? I hope that your reasoning right now is telling you to intake this information and see where you can implement it in your life and how it could help you be a better person. But I hope you guys got some value. Hopefully I didn't go to, oh, perfect. I did great on time. Yeah, so hopefully you guys got some value. If you guys have any questions, we can do a Q&A, feedback, Grace, you know, whatever it is. But thanks for listening, and I hope you guys master the basics.
Wow, Femi, that was awesome. Thank you so much for going over that. It's always, I've heard this training several times, and it's always a really, really good reminder of the fact that I still don't know it unconsciously. And it's like we can hear the same thing over and over and over and over. And it's like I got the 4 levels of learning on an unconscious competence, but the actual overall mastering the basics is still not a conscious competence, an unconscious competence level for me. And so it's really, really good to hear it from you and to hear the way that you explain it, because 360, what do you say, 360 something days of morning routine?
Yeah, 304 days in.
304 days, like that's unreal. And it's inspired me. Like I've been doing morning routines, but I haven't actually counted. I'm like, yeah, I do it every day, but like the ability to say 304 days, I can say that in certain other areas, but not in that specific one. And so today's day 1 of morning routine, or today's, yeah, day 1 of morning routine. And we're gonna do 365. Like that's just powerful to even be able to have that on a literal, like I have it written down, because like what you said, like about your goals around you, they're literally on your wall. You see them every day. You see them all over the place, and those are the things that what we see we actually get. And so that's really, really cool. I'm super grateful for you. You challenge me on every single day to just up it, and I love that, because you know, both of us, like everybody on this call, like if you're on this call still, it's like you want to level up. Being around people that actually challenge you to level up is something special. What we can do, since it is a small group, we can definitely have some Q&As. Like if you guys haven't figured out necessarily like a morning routine, have any questions about the basics, feel free to unmute and ask away. We've got about 5-10 minutes left, and we can answer any questions.
Cool. And if you guys don't have any questions, that's also cool. We will be dropping this on the YouTube. So we can always come back, get these slides, watch them, learn it, understand it. I'm happy I finally used this.
Comes in handy when you make it, yeah.
Right? It does. It really does. And like I did want to always have like the most important things that can really take people to the next level. Like I want to have that on deck. You know what I mean? When you're having a conversation with someone and they're like, oh, you know, X, Y, and Z and this and this. And it's like, here, let me teach you a concept.
Yeah.
Because I know what it did for me. Like when I learned this, I was like, why don't they teach us this in school? Imagine if you knew about the 5 basics in high school or middle school.
Yeah.
Wild.
Game over. Game over. I think you mentioned, who was it? The training balance scale with the spiritual and the physical. When did that make sense for you? Was it an actual moment where you're like, wow, I actually felt that in the spiritual world versus the physical? Because sometimes people get really, they're like, I don't know how, and it's just an intuition. It's like, how did you learn to listen to your intuition?
Well, the training balance scale, what you utilize to get better and master that is your higher faculties. You have to specifically work on your faculties, and you literally, like if you have bad emotional intelligence, like this will be something difficult for you to understand because it literally ties into because how you feel dictates how you think, all right? Tier, thoughts, emotions, actions, results. So this really started, like when I seen this actually happen for me was like in my like dark times of like, just looking and asking for what I like, what I need, like when I was seeking a community that can elevate me and I was asking all these questions, I was journaling every day. And then I was like, okay, and it's funny because I didn't know about this, but I just knew, I'm like, okay, if it's in my mind, bro, like it has to be out there. Like there's no way I'm crazy for just feeling and thinking this. But I really learned how to follow my intuition, like just through like my prior experiences before even getting into entrepreneurship. And it's only because I was burned so much not listening to my intuition. Um, so that really like corrected me with that because I'm like, okay, last time I had this feeling, I ignored it, and that's exactly the thing that happened. So after that, I was like, you know what? My intuition, that's it. Let me just follow it and let me just, hone in on it. And also too, like my walk with God really helped, reading things about wisdom and intuition. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, this is something that is important to have, especially too, if you have any type of inspiring, dreams to be a leader, speaker, whatever the case is, because you need to learn how to follow your intuition because sometimes it dictates how you have conversations, and also too the conversations you fall into, right? I remember getting into this space. I would have an inkling to talk to somebody, right? And I'm like, but that other aspect of me, my willingness to change
You're like,
wasn't that high. Like I was like, I'm not gonna go talk to this random person. Like, why do I feel the need to talk to this person? But through like those, trials and errors, and when I actually did follow my intuition, good things came out of them. Way better than what I thought. I went to have a conversation with this person and I end up, like being able to go to some network event like down the line months later with all these high-end people because I decided to open my mouth when my intuition told me to. So like it's literally through like those experiences where I was like, okay, you know what? My intuition is really important. So let me hone in on it. And then when I learned this information with the training balance skill, like when I started putting it together, I'm like, wow, this makes sense. Because I've always been a driven person. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. And I never really knew how, but I was like, yeah, I deserve to do that. I'm going to do it. And then when I learned this, I put two and two together and I just learned how to do it more efficiently and how to do it quicker, learning this. And then I really started seeing it in this space, like, like, okay, cool. Like, well, I want to meet this type of person. Boom, a month later at this event, I met that person. I'm like, yo, this works.
Notice how
works.
she always says events. We gotta go with people.
You're like key phrases.
Key phrase.
Events.
Yeah.
No.
What's up, y'all?
Seriously.
I
Hey,
mean, I definitely want to commend y'all for doing this. This is my second time tapping in. This time I actually wrote it all down. You know what I'm saying? I wrote it all down. You already know. I do know Femi. I don't know you, Grace, but obviously, I just want to check out your Instagram. Also, I followed you as well as the other guy, Jason. Awesome, yeah, and I see that you're about it. So, I just want to say that this is definitely awesome. I've never really seen it in that way, but I did recognize something about myself that was something that I'm definitely grateful for today. Is that like when we talked about the three questions and you talked about like the questions to ask yourself. I recognize that I do that on a daily basis. I literally have gotten to the point where I do that like right after something happens. Like instead of me going to be like hypercritical of myself and like downing myself and allowing it to lead me into like a place of no action, I actually analyze the decisions I make, you know, some of the responses that I give to people, and just ask myself, you know, like what could I do better? It's probably because of my sales background that I'm like that. Um, and I definitely have written it down, and a lot of these things are just confirmations that like I'm on the right track, because we've been soaking it up from like, you know, it's Bob Proctor, and you know we've been soaking it up from Nano and from some of the other leaders that are here in the academy. But I definitely want to say that outside of that, you know, I really dig what you guys are doing here. I'll definitely be trying to invite more people here on Saturdays. I see you guys are consistent, so I know it's gonna be here. It ain't going nowhere, whether one person shows up or not.
Right.
So keep it going, and I'm here.
Facts.
Appreciate you, Lance. It's nice to meet you, and it's really, this community is special, and we get to build it from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Facts. Definitely appreciate that. And yeah, we'll always, and that's one thing that I learned listening to Jim Rohn. Show up when the rooms are small. Because you don't know who's gonna be in the room, and you don't know what that's gonna look like down the line, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I'm so excited because it's literally, we're gonna come back and look at these calls and be like, wow, remember when we used to do these? And that was like on a major scale. Like, you know, but thank you for your input for sure. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Like I see you growing, I see you changing, and it's awesome. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just document the journey. Like one of the best things, like, yeah, you said you like checked out my Instagram. It's like the best advice I ever got was to document the journey so that other people can see it, so that you can go back and inspire yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I have been growing, I have been doing it, I have been doing all of these things that I said I was going to do. And it starts to hold yourself accountable on your own social media, which then inspires other people to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Facts. Awesome. So let me get this. I'm gonna drop the questions in the channel for the teachability index.
Let's get it.
Yes, but that's awesome. Grace, you're amazing. I appreciate you.
You are incredible. I appreciate you. Thank you. I received that.
Yes. So I will definitely drop that in the chat. If you guys are not in our channel, hop in the channel, because that's where we usually drop everything. The calls, the flyers, beforehand. Actually drop the flyer for next week too in there as well. But any last comments you want to say, Grace? Anything you want to leave us with?
This week was really just one of those weeks where it was the discipline over the feelings. And I know we've learned a lot about the feeling is the secret, but sometimes the action dictates the feeling. Just as feeling dictates action, action dictates feeling. So if you're in that spot where it doesn't necessarily feel amazing, go do the thing, and then you'll get the feeling. And sometimes it's the opposite way. And so when we know that we can do both, and you know you need to do the thing, that's what I learned this week. So there was several times where I was like, I do not feel like doing this. Did it anyway, and it produced the feeling. And I was like, now I get that phrase.
That's beautiful. No, I love that. That's good. That was good. This week I've been hearing literally consistently through the week, discipline equals freedom. So that was a confirmation.
That's what I went IG live on that.
Really? Amazing.
Yeah.
Look at that alignment.
Word for word, discipline equals freedom.
Yeah, that's a real thing, and I choose to embrace and do that more throughout the rest of this year, because it's a real thing, and I love that the action dictates the feeling. That's really good. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
guys.
everybody that was on this call and that stayed in and tuned in. Thank you for the people that are rewatching and getting this information, getting these gems. Apply these 5 basics, you guys. They literally will change your life, and stay teachable. Be great.
See you guys later. Tune in for next week.
All right,
Bye,
later.
guys.